It started off with the Rocky and Rambo movies.
Right.
You know, those kind of like my fathers when I was coming up. But then when I finally met this guy named Scott Garen, this guy that fell off it, you know, he had a parachute accident. A guy crashed through his parachute and he fell 13,000 feet, pretty much to his death because his parachute collapsed and he fell 120 miles an hour to the ground. I mean,
that picture in the book.
It's disgusting, right? And so he hit the ground, and I met him a couple years later at this CAP, Civil Air Patrol camp. And I'm sitting there, and no kid was like amazed by him. You know, it was like, okay, this is a great story. I'm a kid, let's go. I'm sitting there, he comes out, and I was amazed by Rambo. Like at a young guy, like, oh my God, this is the real Rambo. He came out, he had, he got his throat cut open to open up his airway. And so I saw he got trached, and I saw all these different things. I was like, my God, he came out talking all like Clint Eastwood, and he shared the story, and he's all hardcore. And I started following this guy, but he didn't know I was following him. So for a week long, he did push-ups and flutter kicks, and all. I was like, man, that is the real Rambo.
Why do you think it connected with you and not with the other kids? Like, what was it inside of you that was, obviously searching for somebody like that?
I was looking for strength my entire life. I didn't have any. I was a really weak kid. My dad beat the living shit out of me and took I was strong as a young kid. But me protecting my mom for so many years in that house, my dad made me very afraid because he beat the shit out of me every time I went at him. Mm-hmm. So in that, every man wants courage. Every man wants strength. At least this one does. So I found it in every way possible. And when I see a strong guy, I was like, okay, maybe he can teach me. So he didn't know anything about me. So time went on, I left school, and then this guy was in my mind. We had zero money, man. Like at one time we lived in a $7 a month place, government subsidized apartments. Now we live in like a $200 place at this time. I went on a $500 phone bill. And back then, dude, and having no money, my mom wanted to kill me. I was in search of Scott Garen.
Yeah, no Google, no internet.
Google, no nothing.
You're just randomly calling up bases?
Air Force bases, man. Calling up Air Force bases, man. Hey, do you know what Scott Garen? What do you mean? I'm like, who's Scott Garen? I'm like, he's a pararescue man. A what? Because, a pararescue man, there's not a lot of them. So I started getting, there's a PJ base here, a pararescue base here. So I started tracking down pararescue bases. Finally, Key West, Florida. He's a scuba instructor down there in Key West, Florida. I leave a message. He calls back, gets a hold of my mom. I'm like, I cannot believe this guy called me back. My first question to him was, hey man, can I come stay with you for a week? He's like, who the fuck are you, man? He didn't know who the fuck I was. The guy let me come stay with him for a week.
And that was, you were senior in high school?
I was a junior in high school. Mm-hmm. It was in my junior year pretty much.
It's pretty amazing that he was open to that.
He was open to it.
You.
I think he said about 4 words to me in the entire week. We PT'd together, and I didn't need to hear a word from him. He didn't talk a lot. Uh-huh. He was an instructor. I would go to school or to scuba school with him. He would instruct. I'd sit on the couch for 10 hours. Sit in the lounge on the fucking couch for 10 hours. He'd come back, pick me up, we go for a run, he'd go home. We ate fish every fucking day because we had to go out in the ocean, like I would go lobster hunting. I hate the fucking water, I was scared to death, but this guy went in, so I'm going in. And I left there with just one big thing. That's what I want to be. I want to be a guy like that.
Yeah, this desire within you to find like a strong, positive male role model for your life.
I was looking hard, man.
Yeah. But it wasn't easy getting following that path for you.
No, it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. Being a pararescue man, trying to be a pararescue man, there was a lot of things I didn't know about. And not having a mentor, not having, Scott was there, he really wasn't. I met him for a week. Mm-hmm. I saw him maybe a couple times, and I started bugging the shit out of him. He was a busy guy, had a family. So I was back on my own. And I did the best I could. And trying to be a pararescue, I finally passed the ASVAB test after taking it several times. And when you cheat your whole life in high school and elementary school, I had about 4th grade reading level. So I talk about that a lot in the book, and I had to learn so much school in 6 months. And that's when I really developed my work ethic. People think it's from running and everything. No, it's not from SEALs, it's not from running. It was from the countless hours teaching myself how to fucking read and write. I had a tutor for 1 hour every single week. That's all we could afford. So for 6 months, I saw a tutor 1 hour a week. All the rest was on me. My mom was working 3 jobs. She was never home. I set this fucking table. I'm like, I have to get in the military.